Good morning. We find ourselves bundled up a little bit on this chilly morning after Friday temperatures nearing the 70s, and I hear that we had a little bit of much needed rain yesterday, not enough, but a little, every bit counts. I hear that we're heading toward an expected high of 79 degrees on Wednesday. It must be spring. There is nothing like the swings in weather at this time of year to remind us that we are intimately connected to the earth and a part of the web of all existence. In that spirit, we offer an acknowledgement of the indigenous people who first populated this land, read this morning by Jasper Waters.
In our commitment to be in right relationship with the descendants of this area's indigenous peoples, we place a small basket of black oak acorns on our altar each week. In doing so, we acknowledge the Nisenan people are still here among us today, though nearly invisible after generations of erasure and exclusion from California's history. We understand we are on Nisenan land that was never ceded, and the original tribal families have yet to recover from the genocide of their people. As residents or visitors in Nisenan land, we support the Nevada City Rancheria Nisenan tribe in efforts to stabilize their people, as well as the campaign to restore tribal sovereignty through federal recognition.
I invite those of you at home to light your home chalice. So you have a job here in these opening words. I'm going to ask the question which has perhaps become a familiar question to you after 2 years of a global pandemic. The question is, what's the point? That's going to be your question. So each time I say, we ask, you say, what's the point? Let's practice that once. We ask, what's the point? Okay, this is Renewing Faith, a call to worship by Reverend Dr. David Breeden. We ask, what's the point? To renew our faith, to renew our trust that our world is enough, that we are enough. We ask, what's the point? To remind ourselves that loving our world and each other is our way. We ask, what's the point? To renew our faith that loving choices create a loving life.
Morning. Well, as Lindsay said, today marks the spring equinox, when light and dark are equal. The season has turned from winter to spring. It's a time for rebirth. The planting season will soon begin, and new life will form once more within the earth. As the earth welcomes new beginnings, we too can feel a renewal of our own faith. In ancient times, before electric lights and calendars and clocks and daylight savings time, people kept time by the movements of the earth and the sun and the moon. And we still do, even though it's not always super easy to see from minute to minute or even day to day, but we know that the earth is always, always turning. Round and round the earth is turning, turning always into morning, and from morning into night. Equinox is a word that comes from the Latin language, combining the word for equal, which means obviously balance, and nox, the word for night. So on the equinoxes, which we know there are 2 each year, day and night are balanced. The 2 equinoxes, spring and autumn, come exactly between the winter solstice and the summer solstice. Science, there's going to be a test, just kidding. We mark the new year now just after the winter solstice on January 1st. But a long time ago, the spring equinox used to be considered the right time to celebrate the new year. That's always made more sense to me. It's just the time we see so much newness, like lots of animal babies are born around this time, and grasses and flowers pop up, leaves unfurl on the trees, and it feels like everything is new again. There's also a reason why we call it spring cleaning, out with the old, in with the new. Round and round the earth is turning, summer, fall turn into winter, and from winter into spring. I really like being here at UUCM when we celebrate the solstices and the equinoxes, if you haven't already figured that out. Because I think the movement of the celestial bodies is something that speaks to us all. No matter what other spiritual beliefs we have, whether or not we share the same ideas about what's the meaning of life, where do we go when we die, or whether or not there is a God, I think even UUs can agree on this simple but profound fact that round and round the earth is turning. And in this time of celestial balance, in this pivotal moment of precious time, we can celebrate fully together. Lindsay and I are going to call in some of the elements and directions now into this time and space that we share and make sacred together. From the place of new beginnings, the East, with the blessings of air, may knowledge and wisdom be brought to us upon the winds. Welcome, East. Uh-oh. We need that fire. It might be. From the place of passion and compassion, south. Maybe not. We'll light it when we get to the altar. There you go. Lots of fire. It's cool. You can pretend there's a flame. Maybe Siobhan could just, make a CGI flame for us, because she's not doing anything else. Okay, so from the place of passion and compassion, south, with the blessings of fire, may the warmth and light of the spring bring growth and harmony into our lives. From the west, with the blessings of water, may the chill and darkness of winter be washed away by warm spring rains, bringing hope and renewal to the world. And from the north, with the blessings of the earth and the life within the soil, may we know creativity and sustenance. Now, these 3 candles here symbolize the earth, the sun, and what I'll call the divine mystery. As you watch the flames dance throughout our time here together, Perhaps you'll want to consider your own place within these three things. Where are you needing renewal? And how do you find balance between the dark and the light in your life? We'll light the green candle first. This candle represents the earth. The wheel of the year is ever turning, and now the vernal equinox has arrived. Day and night are equal now. The soil begins to change. The earth awakens from its slumber, and new life begins once more. That candle represents the sun. The sun draws ever closer to us, greeting the earth with its welcoming rays. Light and dark are momentarily in balance, and the sky carries the smell of newness. The sun warms the land beneath our feet and gives life to all in its path. And lastly, this candle represents the divine mystery in our lives. Whether you call it a god or a goddess or multiple, whether you identify it by a name or simply as a universal life force, this is the candle which stands for all the things that we do not know, all those things we cannot understand, but are sacred in our daily lives. Spring has come, and we are thankful. The divine is present all around, in the coolness of a precious rainstorm, in the tiny buds of a flower, in the fuzzy down of a newly hatched chick, in the fertile fields that are awaiting planting, in the sky above, and in the earth below. We are so blessed to be alive on this day. Welcome life. Welcome balance. Welcome renewal. Welcome spring.
So, we're going to do something different here this morning. As a way of honoring the coming of spring, we're going to create a mandala right here on this table. Those of us in the sanctuary and those of us on Zoom collectively. Sometimes worship happens without words. A mandala is a piece of art that is like a prayer, a meditation on balance and beauty. There's going to be a lot of instructions, but we promise we will help you along the way. For those of you on Zoom, we invite you to find something nearby that represents renewal, hope, or spring, and then come back to your computer or tablet or phone or however you are connected to Zoom with that object. It could be a painting. It could be a flower. It could be your new puppy, a card that an old friend sent you, any number of things. When you come back, you will find that you've been placed into a breakout room with several others. Feel free to share with one another what you have chosen and why. You'll need to turn your camera on if you'd like to take part in this. Siobhan will pop into each breakout room and take a screenshot of your objects. And then we're going to print these out and include them in the mandala that we make here on this table. Once Siobhan has taken a screenshot of your breakout room, you can return to the main Zoom room and watch the mandala being created from an overhead view. Okay? For those of you here in the sanctuary, we invite you to go outside, right in the middle of church, and find something that represents hope or spring or renewal in a set of 4. So if you take something from a plant we encourage you to just ask permission of the plant before you pick part of it. Of course, please don't pick anything from neighboring properties. You may also find, when you go out in the front and along the side of the church, there are some hidden little treasures. So keep your eye open. You might see some little chicks, or some fabric flowers, or some rubber duckies, things like that. And collect these also in sets of 4 and bring them back in. And if going outside doesn't work for you, we have baskets of objects you can choose from to place on the mandala. So then when you've selected your objects, you're going to come to the table and place them opposite one another so that they're symmetrical and balanced. Beth is going to demonstrate. We're building a wheel that is a dance around the center. The structure and the patterns will emerge as we create the mandala. Think of a compass, a labyrinth, the ripples on water from when you toss a stone in, a nebula, a spinning galaxy. So balancing around the table in 4 areas, like those parsnips. And then you're invited to take a shaker egg and join in the percussion jam that's going on. Or you could take a pair of scissors and help cut out photos of the objects that the folks online have found and place those on the table, taking care to balance them as well. Okay, so first we'll sing Round and Round the Earth is Turning 2 times through, and then you will collect your objects. Those on Zoom will share them in their breakout group. Those in the sanctuary will work to construct this mandala in meditative silence and then join in with the percussion. Those on Zoom will return to the main Zoom room to watch the mandala being created. And then as we finish up, we'll return to singing Round and Round the Earth is Turning with Kate Kanan's wonderful added verses. So first, let us sing.
Friends, working together, we have filled this space with beauty and with balance. May these symbolic items that we have gathered and placed in collective creativity remind us that each moment holds the promise of renewal and the possibility of peace. Amen, and blessed be. This beautiful creation is made even lovelier by the fact that it didn't even exist when our service started. And just like the sand mandalas that the Buddhist monks create, it will be dismantled when our time together comes to a close. It's a reminder that throughout all the moments of our lives, we are constantly in a state of renewal. Round and round we turn, turning always from morning into night, from joy to sorrow to joy again. Here, now, in this moment, I invite you to take a minute to just connect with your center and allow what you are holding to come forth. Who or what is surfacing for you? Is there a care or a concern that you would like to bring to the center of our space to be held in common? On the outside edge of our table, there are rocks, symbols of perhaps the burdens that we carry in our hearts and in our minds, what's weighing on them. And in the center of our collective creation, we have a bowl of water. That's the symbol of the container that is our community. And when we place those stones into the water, the ripples of caring spread far and wide and are shared by us all. So during the music, I invite those in the room to come up and select a stone and place it in the bowl of water. For those of you on Zoom, you can type into the chat and I will read aloud what is written.
I wish you enough sun to keep your attitude bright. I wish you enough rain to appreciate the sun more.
I wish you enough happiness to keep your spirit alive. I wish you enough pain so that the smallest joys in life appear bigger.
I wish you enough gain to satisfy your wanting. I wish you enough loss to appreciate all that you possess.
I wish you enough hellos to get you through the final goodbye.
Kay Kreider is a UU consultant who works with congregations on stewardship, and she has worked with many churches on program and building campaigns. And she's going to give you a brief preview of her session with us this afternoon at 1 o'clock. Kay, welcome.
Good morning. It's great to be with you. And you all give me a sense of hope and renewal. What a lovely service. It's great to be here. So I've talked with many of you about your programs and your hopes and your dreams for moving forward for your congregation as a whole and for your church home. And I've reviewed lots of information. And this afternoon at 1 p.m. here in the sanctuary and also on Zoom, I'll give you some parameters for what can lead to a successful capital campaign and the time that it takes to go through that process. There's no rush, and provide you with some compliments and some observations and some recommendations for moving forward. And then there'll be an opportunity for questions as well. So I look forward to seeing you at 1 p.m. Thanks.
The contributions from members and friends that are made during our Sunday service come from hard work and sacrifice and are so gratefully received. And just as we know that together we are better, we also know that what we give to our church collectively does a greater good, both for ourselves and for our world, than what we could do individually. 25% of the weekly offering for the month of March will go to our longtime community partner, Interfaith Food Ministry, working to feed the hungry and reduce food insecurity in Nevada County. May we give in love and gratitude to sustain and grow the life and mission of this congregation.
Your generosity remains essential to our ability to sustain the work of our community. There are several ways to contribute. You may text an amount to 833-579-0483, give via our website at uugrassvalley.org, via PayPal at paypal.me/UUCM, or mail to UUCM 246 South Church Street, Grass Valley, California, 95945. Thank you.
Thank you for your generosity. May these offerings, freely and lovingly given and received, be dedicated to finding hope in hard places and turning from darkness into light.
So many thank yous this morning. Thank you, Beth, for co-creating wildly with me. We have a good time dreaming these things up and seeing if they'll work. Thank you all for coming along on this experimental journey with us. Thank you to Eileen, who's serving as chat host, to Siobhan Boylan, Gary Lauer, and Steve Temple, who are back there making all of the audio and visual stuff work, even when it's trying not to. Thank you for your heroics. Jordan for putting together that video of spring images. Beth, Karow for the gorgeous settings. Thanks to Kate Kanan for those Renaissance tunes of spring, and Jordan, as always, for your music. To Joe Waters and Jasper Waters for being here to read with us today. Thank you very much. And to our production crew, Corey Silva and George Dunstan behind the scenes, and Ishel and Ramon, who actually made those shaker eggs that we were using last week or a couple weeks ago upstairs during religious education.
And thank you to the directions, north, west, south, and east, to the elements, earth, water, fire, and air, for bringing your abundance of gifts of creativity and sustenance, compassion and renewal, growth and harmony, knowledge and wisdom. To the earth and the sun and the divine mystery, thank you for the return of spring once again. One seed, two hands, dig a hole, start to plant, watch it grow, pass it down. One earth spins around. And though we now extinguish our chalice flame, we know that we will carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Bye, Zoom.